The mid-60s to the early 70s is often regarded as the golden age of American muscle. From the Ford Mustang to the Dodge Charger, from the Chevrolet Camaro to the Pontiac GTO, this era brought forth some legendary cars, and this is one of them. Welcome to another exciting classic cars on DubiCars video. Today we're taking a look at this impressive 1970 Plymouth GTX listed by CV Auto on DubiCars, your go-to platform for buying, selling and researching cars in the UAE. That 440 cubic inch V8 under the bonnet is a masterpiece that deserves a closer look. So let's get started. The term muscle car first came about in 1964 when Pontiac called its GTO a muscle car. This set the ball rolling for all major American car manufacturers. Formed in 1928, Plymouth was a part of the Chrysler Group and, like all American car manufacturers, produced large and heavy cars. However, when the muscle car wars of the 60s began, it was quite obvious that Plymouth had to produce something new to take the fight to the other muscle cars. In 1967, Plymouth launched the GTX version of the Belvedere, a coupe in production since the 1950s. This soon came to be known as the Plymouth GTX, a muscle car with two large engine options. The redesigned Plymouth GTX from 1971 is the more popular car among classic car enthusiasts. However, this pre-facelift model has a charm of its own. The Plymouth GTX is often hailed as the gentleman's muscle car. Its styling is raw and aggressive and yet more refined than its competitors. One could be seen driving it to gala dinners or award shows and then drag racing it on the way back. The massive grille with the GTX badging is flanked by these four circular headlamps, and that bumper is enough to satisfy all your chrome cravings. This purple paint job is quite unique and makes the car stand out even in a crowd of muscle cars. On the side profile, it features 20-inch blacked out American racing alloy wheels which give it a modern touch. The white stripes flow into the vents behind the doors. While the vents aren't functional, they sure add a lot of character to the car. It is a lengthy car with a massive boot, a signature element of the cars of its era. At the rear are the signature tail lamps with an outline that mimics the grille from up front. The interior of the GTX is all about comfort and style. You get plush leather bucket seats, a stylish dashboard and plenty of space for you and your passengers. Plymouth didn't just focus on power and performance, they made sure you could enjoy the ride in comfort. Just look at these details: the wood grain trim on the center console and dashboard, the sporty steering wheel and the simple instrument cluster. And let's not forget, the GTX came with a radio and a cassette player, which in those days was a luxury. This particular car has additional gauges retrofitted. Powering the Plymouth GTX is a 440 cubic inch or 7.2 litre V8 engine. Produced between 1965 and 1978, this engine powered a range of Plymouth and Dodge models. Known as a Super Commando, this engine was a powerhouse back in the day. It cranks out 370 horsepower and 651 Newton meters. This engine was a big reason for the GTX being a favorite among drag racers of its time. In this particular car, it hasn't been restored and is in its original condition, proudly showcasing more than 5 decades of wear and tear on the outside. Inside though, it's barely running. Behind the wheel, the GTX feels incredibly comfortable. This is a car that feels at home on the highway and on the drag strip. The suspension setup was sporty for its time, but it now feels incredibly comfortable compared to the sporty, modern era muscle cars. That exhaust note is music to any gearhead's ears. So there you have it, the 1970 Plymouth GTX with the 440 cubic inch V8. Powerful, stylish and incredibly fun to drive. This is a car that perfectly embodies the spirit of the golden age of muscle cars. Find this 1970 Plymouth GTX from CV Auto on DubiCars. Make sure to download our app and turn on the notification settings to get the latest updates on cars. That's it from us for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to DubiCars for more automotive content. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, drive safe and keep the pedal to the metal.